Hi YouTube, this is Dan Shapiro from the Harvard International Negotiation Initiative. I'm also director of the World Economic Forum's Global Agenda Council on Negotiation and Conflict Resolution. This council is a multi-stakeholder group of former heads of state, major actors, negotiators working to help people deal with their differences more effectively. At Davos, we've been sharing with the community here some of the major insights that we've been working on and practical advice that we are working to spread around the world in terms of how to make our world a safer place. And I think this is really important information to be sharing. Basically, 1 year ago, the world had very little sense of the impending global economic crisis, and there's consensus among many within the international security realm, or at least some, that there's another incipient crisis right around the corner, and that is the crisis of international security. How do we keep ourselves safe from terrorism, from nuclear proliferation, and from violent conflict? And what we've realized is that the nature of conflict has changed significantly over the past 15, 20 years. And indeed, we found that there's a lot more intrastate conflict within states, regional conflict, than interstate conflict. Additionally, there's been more fragmentation. So we're finding increasing divisions within rebel movements and governments, for example, in the DRC and elsewhere, and on and on. A number of different ways that conflict has changed in our world. The question, though, is ultimately, how are we going to deal with conflict, large-scale, violent conflict in our world most effectively? And this is a tough question. There are a tremendous number of people working hard to deal with this situation around the world, literally. From our own perspective, a couple of key points come out. First of all, there's something we call the prevention principle, that it's incredibly important for the international community working in issues of crisis management, conflict resolution, to focus at the smallest level, the most local level possible, at the earliest moment possible. What can we be doing today to prevent the emergence of violent conflict in the future? And who can be doing what now? We should be pressuring our government leaders to take action now. Yes, the economy is critically important, but if we only focus on the economy, then we are leaving a very fragile world where fragile states are going to become very chaotic states. And in this borderless world, we will all be victim to those kinds of complexities of our world. Secondly, we've been talking about the importance of talk, of negotiation, and it's in many ways obviously important when people have differences to talk about those differences, yet it doesn't always happen in the international spectrum, especially with so many different kinds of actors, non-state actors. And it's our belief, I'll speak personally, it's my belief, that that is extremely important to talk, especially to those who you consider your enemy, if your goal is ultimately peace. And talking in today's world, we've also realized, has its great complexities. Talking isn't simply picking up a phone anymore. It can be, but even picking up a phone is increasingly a part of the complexity of negotiation. When we have cell phones, when we have rebel movements in hard-to-reach locations, using the cell phone, exploiting the use of the cell phone, for example. How can we use technology most effectively to help foster talk? A third area that we've been focusing on within our council is the importance of bringing women into the peacemaking process. There are some, but not many, involved in the peacemaking process. The UN has been working to promote that, and we as well are trying to promote the importance of bringing women into the dialogue process, into the peacemaking processes. And finally, this is one that hits me very close to home. It's the importance of dealing with the emotional and identity-based dimensions to conflict. Conflict obviously conflict resolution involves many different elements. And one of the most important, when we have intrastate conflicts and regional conflicts, is how do you deal with these emotional and identity-based issues? We don't have the skills, we don't have the tools right now to deal with those complexities. There are certainly people out there doing good work in this realm, those in transitional justice, people doing work on how to deal with trauma. But when I look at the situation in Gaza, it frightens me, it saddens me in so many ways, partially because we don't, as a world community, know how effectively to deal with these kinds of situations. And it's imperative to develop new ideas, new practical ideas to deal with them. That's part of my own work at the Harvard International Negotiation Initiative, what we're doing. In any case, YouTube, I know this was a mouthful, but I look forward to continued conversation with you on this subject matter. Thanks so much for listening.